Hey third graders, today we're going to be doing Module 3, Lesson 9. Today you'll model the associative property as a strategy to multiply. So what is this associative property that you speak of? Well, do you guys remember in addition how it didn't matter what order you would add something up in? Like 5 plus 2 plus 3 would get you the same answer as if you did 2 plus 3 plus 5. I still have the same numbers, but I'm going to get the same answer. I'm still going to get 10 no matter what. The same rule applies to multiplication. So when you have, we already know from the commutative property that if we have two numbers, like 3 times 6 equals 18, we're going to get the same answer if we flip our numbers around. 6 times 3 equals 18. And the same is true if we have more than two numbers that we're multiplying. So 3 times 6 times 2 is going to be the same as 2 times 3 times 6. Let's go ahead and try one just to prove it. So if we have 3 times 2 times 4, would it be the same as if we multiplied 3 times 2 times 4, but we did the 2 times 4 first this time? So remember, parentheses, solve me first. So if we multiply them in a different order, are we going to get the same answer? Let's check it. So 3 times 2 equals 6 times 4 equals, so 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. So we have 24. And then if we did this one first, so 2 times 4 is 8. Times 3 still equals 24. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24. Okay, so now it's time for you to do one now that you've seen me do one. Go ahead and prove it that 2 times 1 times 5 is going to get you the same answer as 2 times 1 times 5 if you start with that part of the equation first. All right, so go ahead and solve both of these. Press pause and press play when you're done. All right, so for your answer, you should have gotten 2 times 5 equals 10. And here you should have also gotten 2 times 5 equals 10. All right, so this is a pretty nifty little property of multiplication, a little trick that we can use to help us, because today our real focus is going to be on multiplying things that are pretty big. So like if we went 3 times 14. So a lot of you guys are already looking at that and you're thinking, well, I could just do 3 groups of 14, or I could do 14 groups of 3, or I could count by 3 14 times. All of those are great strategies, don't get me wrong, but today our focus is going to be using this associative property to help us multiply something like this. This will get you ready for 4th grade when you guys are going to start multiplying things like this, 35 times 14, or even 356 times 14. I don't know about you, but I don't want to count by 14 356 times. So we're going to get you started learning these kind of strategies so that when you get to 4th grade, you already kind of have a good understanding of the basics. Anyway, so 3 times 14. Let's give that a go. Let's start by actually finding out what 3 times 14 is. Please draw an array of 3 rows of 14. Press pause and press play when you're done. I'm going to do it on my board right now. All right, 3 times 14. So when I look at this, I could count by 3 14 times. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30, 33, 36, 39, 40, 41, 42. So from my array, I found that 3 times 14 is 42. Okay, that's all fine and good, but remember those 4th grade problems when we're going to get up into the hundreds? Those arrays are going to be quite large. So what's a little strategy for us to kind of chunk this up? Can you guys already see that when we're organizing our information, it's like you can kind of chunk it up into parts like what we've already been doing the last few days, where you take a section of the array and you create a multiplication equation to help you figure out a little bit at a time. So that's kind of today's concept. So today, I want you to rewrite 3 times 14. But to use the associative property, I want you to take 14 and divide it into 2 factors. So what 2 numbers could make 14? Don't use 14 times 1. Use something different to break it down into a smaller group. So I'm going to do 2 and 7. So 3 times 2 times 7. So right now, here's our equation. Now, because of the associative property, remember, we could move where the parentheses were in the same string of numbers and get the same answer. If I kept it as 2 times 7 and I solved my parentheses, it would just get me back to 3 times 14. So what if we moved our parentheses to, and do this with me, let's rewrite it, 3 times 2 times 7, but this time, let's put our parentheses here. So go ahead and solve this new equation, press pause, and then press play when you're done. All right, so we have 3 times 2 times 7. So we have 6 times 7 equals, now remember, you can use our strategies from the day before to help you with your 6s. So I know 6 times 5 is 30. So 6 times 6 is 36. So 6 times 7 is just 6 more, which is 42. So 6 times 7 is 42. What? We got the same answer. So 2 different strategies to solve the same answer. One, you just draw the array, and this one we use the associative property. This one, you guys, I like that one. That was a lot faster, and I didn't have to draw anything. But the modeling helps us prove how we got that answer. Let's talk about that for a minute. We turned 3 times 14 into 6 times 7. So we still have the same amount of dots, but we rearranged them. So here we have 6 groups of 7, or commutative property, we would have 7 groups of 6. So let's find those 7 groups of 6 that we rearranged our 3 times 14 into. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if we count them up, look at this. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 groups of 6. That is mathemagical, you guys. Let's go ahead and do a few more problems. If you want to do this to your own array to prove it, please go ahead and do so. I like that you're proving it. For our next problem, write 2 times 16 equals, draw the array and find the product. Press pause and then press play when you're done. All right, so for 2 times 16, what you should have found was 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32. All right, so we got 32. That's what you should have gotten. Now let's go ahead and try it with the associative property. So rewrite 2 times 16 equals, and this time we're going to take our larger number and we're going to divide it into 2 factors. So think of 2 factors, or 2 numbers that multiply together to make 16. I know that 2 times 8 equals 16. I also know that 4 times 4 equals 16. So let's go ahead and start with 2 times 8. And so I'm going to break 16 down into 2 times 8. Go ahead and do that with me as I go. And then we're going to still keep the rest of our problem here. So 2 times 2 times 8. So right now our parentheses would go right here if we wanted to keep our problem the same, but let's move them over and let's multiply 2 times 2 times 8. All right, go ahead and solve this. Press pause and press play when you're done. All right, to solve this, you should have done 2 times 2 equals 4 times 8. So I could have counted by 4 singing my 4 song. So 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32. All right, I still have 32. So I rearranged my array so that even though my factors are different, I still have the same answer because I haven't added or subtracted anything from my original problem. I've just rearranged all the pieces. So go to your array and see, can you find the 4 times 8 in this array here? See if you can divide it up like what we did over here where we found our groups of 6 times 7. We found our 7 groups of 6. See if you can find our 4 groups of 8 or our 8 groups of 4. Press pause and press play when you're done. All right, so if I wanted to find my 4 groups of 8, I see 2, 4, 6, 8. I have 1 group of 8, 2 groups of 8, 3 groups of 8, and 4 groups of 8. That is mathemagical. I'm going to coin that phrase. All right, so 4 times 8 is the same as 2 times 16, and we still get 32. Let's do this one more time together, and then we'll go to the final problem. Our next problem is 3 times 18. Will you please draw your array for this, figure out the answer, and write your answer on the paper. Press pause and press play when you're done. All right, you guys should have gotten 3 times 18 is 54. I don't know about you guys, but I didn't really want to count up all my dots. So instead, I just added up my 18. So 18 plus 18 is 36, plus 18 more is 54. If you used that strategy as well over here, good for you. If you counted up all your dots, good for you. All right, let's go ahead and use our associative property though to break up our 18. So let's do 3 times 18 again. Write that with me. Now let's think of what numbers we can divide 18 up into. So I could do 6 and 3. I could do 9 times 2. So let's think about it. So I want to pick a number that when I'm going to move my parentheses over, it doesn't get me another giant number. So if I did 6 times 3, that would get me 18 times 3 again, so that wouldn't really help me. Let's go ahead and break up our 18 into 2 times 9 equals. So now let's put our parentheses in around our 3 and our 2. Go ahead and solve this. Press pause and press play when you're done. All right, you should have gotten 6 times 9 equals 54. All right, so go ahead and find your 6 groups of 9 or your 9 groups of 6 in your array here. Press pause and press play when you're done. All right, so I have my 6 groups of 9. So here I have a group of 9. Here I have a group of 9. Here I have another group of 9. Another group of 9, another group of 9, and another group of 9. So using the associative property, we just put them into different groups. So we have 6 groups of 9. Oops. Beautiful. All right, time for the final problem. Dun 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 dun. Final problem. All right, your final problem today is going to be 3 times 16 equals. Go ahead and figure out what 3 times 16 is using your array first. So do your array. And then I want you to do it again using your associative property. All right, so that is your final problem. Please go ahead and solve it, and we will see you guys tomorrow. Bye, third graders.